All right, folks. All right, folks. Dwayne Alleyne coming at you again with another episode, episode two. It's been a while. Outcome Control Business Solutions. And I'm here to talk to you guys about, some of the success that we have been experiencing with this particular life assessment. I've been sitting down with a couple of people and, as they engage in this information, I'm seeing them becoming transformed before my eyes. People are recognizing what is their best mode of operation. They're learning how to make better decisions. Just like my coach taught me a long time ago that the quality of our life 5, 10 years from now will be based upon the quality of our decisions today. And so as we doing this process with people, people are finding out where they went wrong in terms of making quote unquote bad decisions. And now they are able to see it happening before their eyes. And so now they're able to make better quality decisions, decisions that have a high percentage of accuracy in being right, just by discovering who they are and their type and their energies and the things that actually motivate them, and to be able to discern when they might be too emotionally high or too emotionally low, and to avoid making decisions in those scenarios, and really how to control their emotions. And so now, because they are able to do that, and that is why it lines up so beautifully with our company, Outcome Control, because when somebody has a certain level of control over their emotions, it means that they no longer have to be frustrated. They no longer have to be disappointed. They no longer have to feel discouraged, because they know what to do. And guys, so even for myself, me being, because a part of my profile is a hermit, and hermits are people who, we are more in caves, right? We don't come out. So even coming out and doing these recordings and these podcasts is not essentially who I am, but because a part of my profile also is a role model, it suggests, right? It suggests that there's some wisdom in there that I have to share. And so now that role model part kind of cancels out the hermit side, but I'm still a hermit, right? After I'm finished here, I'm going right back in my cave. So what I decided to do, guys, I got a phenomenal idea, and I mean, a big part of my decision making protocol is to follow the ideas that brings the most excitement. It feels like an expansion inside of you, and then you jump out there and you take the risk. So what was interesting was that I was thinking about, because we are helping people to determine their best mode of operation, their best strategy of how to go about making decisions that serves them, so that they could reach the goals that they want to reach, whether it be spiritually, whether it be mentally, physically healthier, whether it be in their relationship or their finances. That's the path that we're putting people on, right? So the first thing is we determine their type. We determine the goals that match up with that type, that we could kind of project out into the future, and to be able to determine, hey, these are the things that, if you accomplish it, being this type, you will probably experience the most fulfillment. So once we establish that third thing, we go to challenges and setbacks and how to overcome them. And then we dive into affirmations, confirmations, and all of these things have a scientific and a biological effect on a person when they begin to understand the power of affirmations. I know we hear that a lot, right? We hear that, words are seeds. Whatever you say, you're going to get. Even the Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue. And these are things that I subscribe to. But it's even more amazing to break it down even biologically, scientifically, based upon how our brain is wired. Because there's, of course, when we say things with our tongue, with our mouth, we hear it with our ears, right? And so there's an auditory nerve that travels to the brain and programs it. But what people are not also aware of is a hypoglossal nerve, that before you begin to speak, like how I'm speaking here, those thoughts and ideas have to form first in your head. And so now it creates this loop. So by you saying it, hypoglossal nerve, so your brain sends off the signals, sends the transmission through the hypoglossal nerve so that you can speak it. And then when you speak it, you hear it back into your ears, the eardrum vibrates, and it goes right back into the brain and creates this loop. And so now, that's why words are powerful. But it's even more powerful when you discover who you are, how you were meant to operate, right? The goals that were designed for you to feel the most accomplishment from, right? And the challenges and how to overcome those challenges. If you can pull all of those things into affirmations on one end of you saying it, and then on the other end, there's something I like to call confirmations, which is a third party saying it back to you. So it's like a recording saying, hey, Dwayne, you are this, that, and the third. It strengthens that loop and programs you to oblivion, right? So I'm excited about it, guys. I can't wait to share it with you all. But before I even dive into that, of course, there's some disclaimers, because I was thinking about people that have achieved tremendous success in life. They have accomplished the things that they want to accomplish, and maybe even striving even further to do that. So I said that let's take a look at Elon Musk, and I know Elon Musk is very controversial in this day and timing. Of course, working closely with the U.S. President, Mr. Donald Trump, and he has been getting a lot of flack. But that is not the purpose of this session. The purpose of this session is to sort of analyze, Mr. Musk based upon his profile. And I'm not going to share his personal data, even though it's out there in the public, because there is some specific information that we need to get from that person that we can plug it into our algorithm, and we are able to pull out these characteristics that is in this person. So today we're just going to explore this fascinating world of this particular design, right, and how it impacts people's personal and professional life and their growth and their success. So what we're going to be going through, we're going to be looking at Mr. Musk, right? All of this information is publicly available, but like I said, I'm not going to share it here. But we're going to get an insight into his decision-making styles, some of his strengths, maybe some of his challenges. And we are doing it from the point of assuming that he would have overcome some of these things, so that you could get a sense that when we sit down with you, and you will kind of see things lining up when we look at his profile, how maybe accurate it is, or it could be speculation as well too, right? Because we could speculate that, hey, this is a bunch of positive stuff about this individual. Well, isn't that great that you can do an exercise, pull out positive stuff out of it, look at the person who has achieved the success and say, hey, this thing lines up. I mean, you can't get it better than that, right? So just to be clear, guys, this session is for educational purposes only. It's for entertainment purposes only, right? So Mr. Musk, if this reaches you, no hard feelings, right? But I think you'll feel good about it as well too, because we're going to dive into that self-discovery, get some personal insight. Of course, it's not a definite science, right, what we're actually doing here, but we also add another component with real people. As we take people through this process, we look at the ocean model, which is scientifically backed, has studies and data on that we also get for that individual, and we sort of merge the two together, right? So again, this analysis is just going to be based on information that is already in the public domain, even though I'm not going to be sharing it here. Whether it's factual, whether it's not, is not the deal here. It's just for entertainment purposes. So I have to say that, right? And so I don't know if you guys are ready to dive in, but let's dive in. So I want to encourage you all, as we explore these ideas, you do it with an open mind and conduct your own research. Have a conversation with us. Let's guide you through it. We're not here to fix all of your problems, but I'm pretty sure we're here to answer all of your questions. And if you can answer all of your questions about you, and you could start making better informed decisions, then it means that generally your life is probably going to get on track, and you're actually going to begin progressing and moving forward, right? All right, so boom. So let me share my screen here, and let's get started with Mr. Musk. All right, guys. So I don't want this to be too long, so just bear with me. Alrighty, so we're looking at Mr. Musk here. We're gonna get some information on him. So we gathered the information, of course, from in the public to determine Mr. Musk's type. So his type, I'm not gonna call the name of the type. I'm just gonna say it's G. right? So his human design chart is described as a G, with an emotional authority of a 3-5 profile. So like for me, I'm a 6-2 profile, not in height, but right, we'll talk about that later. And so here's what we're going to break down. So when you look at Mr. Musk, as a G, he thrives by responding to life rather than initiating. Responding to life rather than initiating. It doesn't seem that way, right? It seems that he's an initiator. Or maybe that's something that he learned, right? But let's go again. Their best opportunities come when they wait for something external to engage something called a sacral response. And that sacral response is how they go about making decisions, right? Signature. So his signature is fulfillment, and that fulfillment leads to a feeling of satisfaction. So when living correctly, this G feels deep satisfaction in their work life. So I want to be clear here too. When we were doing this, we didn't actually plug in his name because we use AI technology. Of course, it's going to recognize his name and begin to populate stuff that is already in the public domain about him. And so that if that was done, then that would have been that would have not lined up with what we want to do, because we wanted to appear as though this is not Elon Musk, right? But somebody who has similar information as him, which I don't want to say, right? Because I want to keep that confidential and for the sake of this session. But we use that same information minus his name so that it brings it across as though it's somebody unique outside of Mr. Musk, right? So his not self theme is resistance, which is frustration, right? So resistance that leads to frustration. So when they try to force things instead of responding naturally, frustration arises. And I'm telling you something, Mr. Musk have mastered this, even with what he's experiencing now, because he's not forcing anything really, eh? He is responding. So, and as a matter of fact, he made a statement that the reason why he started to look into these different departments in the US government is because when he would have sent them some type of communication, there was some type of resistance or some type of response that was not lining up as, hey, these people are transparent. It's like almost as though he felt like, hey, it has something to hide there, so let's actually go and investigate there, right? So he doesn't force things, instead he responds to things naturally, right? And because if you don't do that, frustration arises. But again, we're looking at somebody who has mastered his emotions. So again, me and you are not there yet. So we're analyzing a master, right? Regardless of how we feel about him, he's a master at what he has done, right? And I think we could all agree on that. Whether he's a mad scientist or whatever you feel about him, I feel differently about him because he's providing certain levels of technology to the planet. It's a sharp mind, and we all desire to be as sharp as that, or to at least fulfill our ambitions the way that he has, right? I think that's a fair statement regardless of how we feel about him. So his decision-making style needs emotional clarity over time rather than making instant decisions. His best approach is to ride emotional waves and wait before committing to major choices. So interesting, eh? Riding that emotional wave and wait before committing to major choices. So this is something that we have to go into maybe his bio to see, well, or his story, to see how he was able to manage those things, right? So his definition, single. All activated centers in his chart are connected, meaning this person processes information independently and doesn't rely on others for clarity. Isn't that interesting? That sounds like Mr. Musk. His strength, natural self-sufficiency in thinking and decision-making. Sounds like him as well too. Even though this could be a general statement, there are profiles where people, they deeply rely on the input of others, right? I'm not like that, but there are people that I've done sessions with, and they can relate to that. And as a matter of fact, there are other successful people that we'll look at on a later date that they are highly dependent upon the input from others, but they have still created tremendous success. Oprah Winfrey is actually one. Right, so I can't wait to cover Oprah. So his profile is a 3-5 martyr heretic. So that third line martyr means that he learns through trial and error. Experimentation is key to his success. And we could see that. Failure is a stepping stone, and they refine their path by testing things firsthand. That is Mr. Musk. And being a martyr, when you hear the term martyr, it's like they die, right? It's somebody who dies on behalf of others. So there's a lot of trial and error that he goes through. So, that's why he's on the cutting edge of certain things, because he fails first at these things. And not everybody is like that, right? Some people are built like that. So fifth line, heretic, is seen as a problem solver. Isn't that right? Yeah. People project expectations onto them though, right? Because he can solve a lot of problems, people has a certain level of expectations of him. And I guess he has learned how to manage those expectations, right? And focus on the things that are important to him. Anyway, capable of bringing practical solutions, but must avoid being overly burdened by others' projections. Because everybody probably want him to do what they want. All right, incarnation cross. Let's dive into this here. So his life theme is service, logic, and correction. Tell me that's not Mr. Musk right there. Gates 5258, root energy, joy, and stillness. A balance between intense focus and knowing when to pause. It just feels like that. He's like intensely focused, and he has to know when to pause. Can bring joy and vitality to their work while maintaining patience. You know about that? Just getting that rocket to land back where it took off from is just mind-blowing, right? Gate 17 and 18, mind, correction, and opinions, analytical, and able to see what needs improvement. Tell me that's not Mr. Musk. Can offer, and again, guys, that is not me. I know that is you. And I guess everybody wants to improve their life, but not everybody is analytical and able to see what needs improvement. Because everybody wants their life to improve, but they don't know where to start. That's the idea. Can offer sharp insights, but must balance their critics with tact. And yeah, he has mastered that, I think. Other key aspects: determination, digestion calm. Best digestion happens in a calm environment. Eating under pressure or stress may disrupt their energy. I don't know that about him, so we can't comment on that. Deeply intuitive through scent. Can't comment on that either, because we don't know him that deep. But when we do yours, I suspect that you're going to be able to relate to it, just like I have done mine, and the people that we are working with have done theirs. Motivation. His motivation comes from desire. He's driven by ambition and need to bring dreams into reality. Isn't that right? He needs that, and he has done it. Works best when fueled by personal passion rather than obligation. Right? So I don't get a sense that he is doing it because he's obligated. It means that it always seems that he's doing it by his own personal passion. And that's why nobody can really tell him anything, right? Well, we could protest or whatever, but it just seems that he has a passion for it, and nobody's going to stop him, even in the midst of death threats and stuff like that. And I'm not championing what it is he's doing. I'm just almost like a practitioner analyzing somebody who have achieved tremendous levels of success in this life and in this world, and seeing what is his profile, and looking at some of the things that his profile is saying about him, and asking, are these things true? Why? To see if something in you could light a fire and say, hey, maybe I should try this thing out. I mean, it's free. Guys, I have a passion for doing this, right? And a matter of fact, anyway, don't worry. Talk about that later on, right? So his perspective is personal, views the world through his own direct experience rather than collective trends. So it doesn't seem as he look at trends, he learns things through his own experience. And so that's why he's moving so quickly into different technologies, faster than most people. Makes decisions based on what aligns with their personal reality. That's a fact too. Environment, markets internal. Best thrives in places and with options and variety. Needs dynamic and stimulating surroundings to feel engaged. Again, we don't know that about him, but we could kind of guess maybe, yeah. Channel 214 has a unique sense of direction in life. Correct? Yeah, we could tell that about him. Able to create wealth and resources when aligned. He has done that. Judgment and joy of life. Wants to correct and improve the world. Even though it sounds like mad scientist behavior, isn't that's at the heart of what he's trying to do? Maybe, considering. Just maybe, right? Now I'm doing this, guys, because I have done mine and I've seen how it lines up. All right, so balances critique with an innate love for vitality, possibly. Maturation and cycles of growth, moves through distinct life cycles and growth phases. So we see that, right, with different companies that he started, from PayPal to Tesla to SpaceX, buying over Twitter, and now getting into other things, right, in the AI, right, constantly expanding into new experiences. That's themselves, intimacy and connection, strong relational energy, drawn to deep bonds and intimacy, right, can be highly persuasive and charismatic. You can see that as well too. Practical applications, business success. Well, wow, we know about that for sure. Wait for the right opportunities before making business decisions. Yeah, probably that's something about him that we can't tell, but we could see from the results. Responding rather than forcing outcomes will actually bring the best results. So that's interesting as well too. Leadership, people look up to them as problem solvers. That's a fact. They must be mindful not to take on too much responsibility or from others' expectations. So again, we don't know about that part, but we could guess that. Relationships, emotional clarity is crucial before making commitments. They may go through emotional waves in partnerships. Well, we know about that for sure with him, right? What he has been through in terms of his relationships, which I don't want to talk about here. But I mean, we can kind of see that lining up. Personal growth, learning through experience is key. They should embrace trial and error while using their natural analytical abilities to refine what works. That's him to 100%, right? And of course, as we're ending off here, this chart describes someone who's powerful, resilient, and analytical, with a natural ability to lead and improve systems by embracing their type, responding rather than initiating, riding emotional waves before making decisions, and focusing on personal fulfillment. They can achieve great success. And this guy has. So I'm going to stop there. All right, I'm going to stop there. Now, what we have to cover next time is the goals. To see if the goals line up. What are some of the challenges that he may have faced? And again, guys, these things that we're covering are things that they are beyond our sight, right? These things are beyond us. Unless he tells us about it, we wouldn't know. But based upon the information that we use, we could possibly see what were some of the challenges that he would have had to deal with coming up through the ranks, and what he may have had to do to overcome those things. And so my hope and prayer is that in doing this activity and sharing it with you guys, is that you too will find a certain level of confidence to say, hey, let me see what I am about. Let me see what are my potential goals. Let me see what is my profile. What are some of my strengths? What is my signature theme? What is my life theme? What is my purpose? Because I pray that in doing so, as people discover their purpose, discover their profile, they discover what is the best mode of operation for them, like I said before, chances are they're going to make better quality decisions. So guys, this is Dwayne Alleyne here. I'm going to stop here for now. We'll go into the rest, maybe in another episode, but I'll stop here for now. And you tell me what you think. Give me your feedback based upon what we just shared. Is this just general stuff? Is this the Barnum effect, as people always talk about, where it's generalized positive statements that could apply to everybody? Or do you feel a sense of this narrowing down into, this kind of lines up with who this guy is? It can line up with a bunch of other people, but isn't it interesting that the pathway for success for Elon Musk, right, can be closely connected to the pathway that we just described in terms of type, personality, signature, not self theme, the different channels he operates from, all right, wanting to improve life, right, responding instead of initiating, right? Is that something that he mastered? Going through phases in life and in business. It also talk about having success in business. So guys, I'll stop there. Let me get your thoughts, put it in the comment section. Dwayne Alleyne over and out. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.